Welcome to the deep dive. This is the place where we really try to sift through some fascinating source material and just distill the core knowledge you actually need.
Exactly.
And today, we are taking on a 30-day spiritual journey. I guess we're calling it Grace Ames True. Light in the midst of darkness.
That's right. And our sources are a really detailed devotional guide for the Hebrew month of Kislev. So that aligns for us with about November 21st through December 20th.
Yeah.
And this guide, it isn't just, for daily reading. It's really a strategic framework. It's designed to align your focus, your purpose, with a very specific rhythm.
So our mission today is to unpack that framework. We want to give you the shortcut, really, to the central insights.
Yeah.
And the thing that immediately grabbed me is the central paradox that Kislev presents. You have the days getting shorter, natural darkness is increasing.
Right.
But it's also the month where the greatest light, Hanukkah, pierces through that darkness. How does the source material use that tension?
Well, that tension creates a really powerful blueprint. And the foundation, it starts with the meaning of Kislev itself.
Okay.
It's the 9th month, and its root comes from this Akkadian word, kislimu.
Kislev.
Yeah, and it means security or trust. So the message right from the start is clear. This period of increasing darkness is actually your time to rest, to rededicate, and to strategize from a place of trust.
That's such a powerful reframe. I mean, because most people, myself included, you default to striving when things get darker or harder.
We all do. And so the guide layers this concept of trust with 3 really intentional prophetic anchors, starting with the celestial sign for the month,
Which is Sagittarius, the archer.
the archer. And it's the perfect metaphor for Kislev. The focus here is all about precision and aim.
Right.
It's not about just, striving to launch as hard as you can. It's about calibrating so that when the arrow is finally released, it hits the target.
I think we've all felt that tension, that kind of pullback feeling in life when things seem to halt or even go backward.
Mm-hmm.
And I always viewed that phase as just frustrating, but seeing it reframed as necessary calibration, I mean, that changes everything.
It really should. The tension of the bow is training, not punishment. So if you feel like you're being pulled back, it's only to launch you forward with greater accuracy.
And this connects to the Hebrew letter of the month, right? Samekh.
Yes, Samekh. It's the letter that looks like a circle.
So what does that concept of encirclement bring to this whole journey of the archer?
Well, Samekh symbolizes divine support and surrounding grace. It's like a protective shield.
Okay.
So when the archer is stretched, when that tension is at its absolute highest, the Samekh grace is what's holding the bow steady. It's like the ultimate security blanket.
And then rounding out that identity piece is the tribe of the month, which is Benjamin.
Benjamin, which means son of the right hand.
Right.
And this really represents our secure identity. The promise is that you are seated securely in the Father's right hand. So every bit of stretching or refinement that Benjamin went through, it just became alignment with that beloved, secure identity.
So if we put all of that together, these foundational concepts, we're stepping into a month that's focused on what? Rested strategy.
Yes.
Aiming true with precision, and knowing that you're operating from this secure, beloved identity. That's dense, but it's really cohesive.
It is. It's highly cohesive. And to make these themes actionable, the devotional stresses moving in rhythm with God's timing.
And this is where the alignment tool really comes in.
It is. They call it the trust activation rhythm.
The trust activation rhythm. I think this 3-part daily flow is the absolute key takeaway for anyone listening. Regardless of your background, it's like the anti-striving plan.
It is. The whole plan is structured around the biblical timing that the day begins at sundown, not sunrise.
Right, based on Genesis.
Exactly. And that requires a major mental shift for most of us in the Western world. We usually start our day with action. This journey asks you to start it with rest.
Okay, let's unpack that 3-part flow, because this really flips conventional productivity on its head. Where do we begin?
The cycle starts at sundown with step 1. Begin and rest. This is in the evening.
Okay.
Before you even think about tackling the next day, you sit still. It's about stillness, prayer, positioning your heart. Think of it like programming your GPS the night before a long trip.
I like that. You wouldn't start a cross-country drive with a dead phone and no map.
Of course not.
You'd start by charging and planning. So this rest phase is actually preparation.
It's preparation for efficiency. Then, as daylight comes, the second phase kicks in. Move and trust. This is the daytime phase.
Right.
So the insights you receive during that rest phase, now they guide your obedience. You're walking out those whispered themes. So your actions during the day aren't born from anxiety or exhaustion.
They're just the execution of the plan you received.
Exactly.
So if the day is the execution phase, how do you prevent that execution from becoming that same old, overwhelming striving?
And that's where the final phase comes in. You have to close the day with number 3, end in reflection in the evening.
And this step is non-negotiable.
Absolutely non-negotiable. Because you aren't judging your day by what you did. You're acknowledging where grace showed up.
That shifts the entire metric, doesn't it?
Completely.
It's moving from like a performance review to a recognition of divine assistance.
Precisely. You remember the deeds of the Lord. Reflection keeps your faith alive, keeps your spiritual oil burning for the next cycle. It's about learning to flow with God's timing.
Okay, so that makes the structure immediately applicable. It's this perpetual cycle of receiving, acting, and then remembering. So how does this daily flow build momentum over the 4 weeks of Kislev?
Well, the sources show how this daily rhythm plays out across a macro rhythm of 4 distinct phases. We don't need to go through every single day,
Yeah.
but we can synthesize the concepts that really define each week.
Okay, let's start with week 1, Foundations of Grace. What's the core focus of those first 7 days?
The focus is on small obedience sustained by grace. The anchor story is the Hanukkah miracle itself.
With the oil.
With the oil, the Maccabees, they found only 1 jar of pure oil. It was enough for 1 night. Obedience started the process.
But grace sustained it for 8.
Exactly. Grace isn't an excuse for inaction. It's the divine enablement for those small, obedient steps you choose to take. So week 1 culminates in being still and trusting that the work you started is now being synchronized by God.
Then we move into week 2, Grace in Motion. If week 1 was about setting the foundation, this feels like the momentum phase.
That's right. This is where things start happening. And the key insight here is handling disruption and detours. Because the devotional, it addresses the reality that when you step out in trust, life throws unexpected curveballs. Day 9 specifically talks about grace in the unexpected turn.
And the message there is that the detour is often the design.
The detour is the design.
It's a huge shift in perspective. If I hit a roadblock, my default is to panic, and try to power through it. This suggests the roadblock might actually be a rerouting.
Absolutely. The sources remind us, a man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Grace reroutes advancement. Week 2 prepares you for that full moon revelation point by training you to trust the unexpected turns.
And then we hit week 3, Grace through refinement. This one sounds a bit less comfortable.
Yeah, this is where rest meets endurance. The middle of the month is the full moon, which symbolizes fulfillment, but ironically it leads directly into the purpose of testing.
Right, and the sources make a critical distinction here. Testing is proof, not punishment.
It is not punishment. It's about purifying your motives.
So if testing isn't a punishment, how does grace function during that refining fire?
Grace sustains you through it. It's the fuel that allows you to endure the process until gold is brought forth. So endurance actually becomes a form of sustained worship.
Okay.
And the sources argue that this sustained worship, it leads to transformation. You're changing from glory to glory because grace is empowering you not just to survive the fire,
but to display Christ's Spirit through the fire.
Exactly.
And finally, we reach week 4, Grace that illuminates, which covers the height of the light during the Hanukkah period.
This is the culmination, the fulfillment of the light. And the final days are focused on establishing legacy.
Okay.
The sources are really clear that grace has to become practical. It has to actually rebuild the ruins, restore what human hands or circumstances destroyed.
And it says the light you carry is meant to become an inheritance. I love that phrase.
It's powerful, isn't it?
It shifts the focus from just a personal goal to a generational one.
It connects everything back to Benjamin's son of the right hand and that covenant that flows to all generations. The goal is to establish a legacy of light that extends far beyond your own lifetime.
So if we step back and we synthesize this entire journey, the deep insight here is that grace, in this context, it's not just soft forgiveness or, an easy way out.
Not at all.
It's described as divine enablement and sustained power. It's the force that makes the archer's aim true.
That is the core takeaway. It is the finished work of Christ operating in real time to empower your strategic alignment. But the journey doesn't actually end when the month does.
Right. The closing sources prepare you for the transition to the next month, which is Tevet.
Exactly.
And what's the distinction between Kislev's light and Tevet's focus?
Well, Kislev was about revelation and light, that visible flame of the menorah. But Tevet is described as the month of testing, maturity, and holy endurance.
So grace revealed the light in Kislev, but the next phase requires guarding that light.
You have to guard it.
That raises a really important question. How do you transition from the joy of that revelation to the discipline of guarding it without losing heart?
You guard the light by deepening the rhythm. The visible flame of Kislev, it has to shift to the quiet inner lamp. The light has to move from an outer display to a hidden, enduring root.
So the provocative thought for you, the listener, is this. The grace that started the work by revealing the light will be the same grace that sustains, guards, and multiplies it, even when that outer flame of excitement starts to wane. It's about trusting the flow and deepening the roots.
Exactly. Apply that principle of rested alignment. You were designed to flow, not to strive. Trust the aim.
A perfect thought to carry forward into the next season. Trust the aim, trust the flow, and trust that grace is always surrounding you.